the art of persuasion. Today, we will master persuasion using conditionals. To persuade, you often need to talk about possibilities. Let's start with the second conditional for hypothetical situations. Imagine a business meeting between Sarah and James. If we invested more in marketing, we would grow faster.
If we had a bigger budget, I would agree with you.
Notice how they use would to soften their stance. Now, let's look at the third conditional for regrets. This is vital for analyzing past mistakes in negotiations. If we had negotiated earlier, we would have saved money.
Had I known about the discount, I would have acted.
That inversion is very sophisticated and persuasive. Let's practice some key vocabulary for persuasion. The first word is to convince. Can you use it in a sentence? Example, I tried to convince my boss to hire more people. Next word, to influence. Example, social media can influence our buying habits. Third word, to negotiate. Example, we need to negotiate a better deal. Let's combine everything in a role play. If we had more time, I would present a new plan.
That would influence our decision significantly.
If you were the CEO, what would you do?
If I were the CEO, I would negotiate with the suppliers.
Great. They are using the second conditional perfectly. Now, let's try a more difficult scenario. We lost the client because we didn't act fast.
If we had acted faster, we wouldn't have lost them.
If the team had been prepared, the result would have been different. Excellent. They are analyzing the past to learn. Let's review the main differences. Second conditional is for what if now. Third conditional is for what if then. Now, it's your turn to be persuasive. Try to convince a friend to travel with you, or analyze a past decision in your work. Remember, persuasion is about possibilities. Practice makes perfect. See you next time. Wait, before you go, let's review the structure. The second conditional describes an imaginary present. Now, let's look at a real business scenario. Meet Alice and Bob in their office. If we signed a longer contract, would you lower the price?
If you committed to a year, I would offer a discount.
Notice how they use would to sound polite. Now, let's change the timeline to the past. If we had seen the report, we would have changed our strategy.
If I had sent it earlier, you would have known.
Can you see the difference in meaning? Let's try a vocabulary challenge now. To convince means to make someone believe something. To negotiate is to discuss terms to reach an agreement. Now, let's practice a formal request. It would be helpful if you could send the files.
I would send them if I had the updated version.
That was a very natural exchange. Let's try a more difficult structure, inversion. Listen to this formal version. Had we known about the delay, we would have reacted.
Had I been informed, I would have called you.
Inversion makes you sound very sophisticated. Now, let's practice problem solving. The company's budget was cut unexpectedly. If we had more budget, we would hire more staff.
If we cut travel costs, we could save money.
Notice the use of could instead of would. Let's try a role-play exercise. Topic: a delayed shipment of products. Try to use at least one third conditional. If the shipment had arrived yesterday, we would be happy.
If I had known about the storm, I would have rerouted.
Very good. You are applying the grammar naturally. Let's look at some persuasive phrases. Phrase 1. I strongly suggest that. Phrase 2. What if we considered? Phrase 3. It is vital that we. What if we considered a digital marketing campaign?
I strongly suggest that we focus on social media.
See how the conversation flows better? Let's do a quick listening test. Sentence: if I were you, I would wait. The answer is A, second conditional. Sentence: if they had called, I would have answered. The answer is B, third conditional. Now, let's practice writing. Complete this. If I had more time, If I had more time, I would learn French. Almost done. Let's wrap up. Review your notes and try to use these in your next meeting. You are doing a great job improving your English. See you in the next lesson. Let's dive deeper into the second conditional. If I had a bigger budget, I would hire more staff.
So, it is not about a real budget right now?
Now, let's examine the third conditional. If we had negotiated better, we would have saved money.
That sounds like a regret about a past meeting.
Let's practice persuasive vocabulary in a negotiation. Imagine you are trying to convince a client.
How should I start the conversation?
You could say, if we had more time, the quality would improve.
That is a very clever way to ask.
Now, let's try a more formal structure. Instead of if I had known, use had I known.
Does it change the meaning of the sentence?
Let's practice with a debate scenario.
I will argue for remote work. If employees worked from home, they would be happier.
Great. Now try to influence the company's costs.
If we closed the office, we would save on rent.
Now, let's look at a failed negotiation. How would you describe this situation using had?
Had we communicated clearly, we would have won.
Let's discuss the effectiveness of these techniques.
It sounds less aggressive and more like a suggestion.
Exactly. It opens a space for negotiation. Let's do a quick matching exercise. A. I would buy a boat. B. I would have passed.
The logic is clear when I see them together.
Now, let's create a short persuasive speech.
I will try to write it now. If we used this software, we would work faster. Had we adopted it last year, we would have finished early.
That was an excellent persuasive speech.
I feel much more confident now.
Remember to practice these in real life. You have mastered the art of hypothetical persuasion.
Thank you for this very helpful lesson.
Practice using these conditionals in your next conversation to master the art of persuasion. Let's transition to a new topic, formal complaints.
I often struggle with being polite while complaining.
We will use I am writing to express my dissatisfaction.
Is that better than saying I am angry?
Yes, it sounds much more professional and objective. Imagine you received a broken laptop from a supplier.
I would say, the device is not working correctly.
Perfect. Now, how would you request a replacement?
Could you please send a new one immediately?
That is good, but try. I would appreciate a replacement.
I see. It sounds more like a formal request.
Let's try a different situation, a delayed flight.
I would tell the agent, my flight is delayed.
Now, add a request for information about the delay.
Could you inform me of the new departure time?
Excellent. What if you want compensation for the delay?
I would ask, am I entitled to any compensation?
That is a very strong and correct way to ask.
Is entitled too aggressive for a conversation?
No, in a formal context, it is perfectly appropriate. Let's practice a service-related complaint at a restaurant.
The food arrived cold. How do I say this politely?
Try, I'm afraid this dish is a bit cold.
Oh, so I'm afraid is a polite filler?
Exactly. It makes the complaint less confrontational.
And then I can ask to have it reheated.
Yes, or could you please replace this dish?
I think I prefer a new dish entirely.
Let's move to a more serious business complaint.
Like a consultant missing a deadline.
Yes. How would you address this in a meeting?
I would say, we are concerned about the delay.
That is very smart. It sounds less personal.
Then I would ask for a revised timeline.
Perfect. Could you provide a revised timeline?
This is much more useful than just being angry.
Exactly. It focuses on solving the problem.
I feel ready to handle these situations now.
Let's review the key phrases from today. First, let's look at how to use conditional sentences.
Do I need them for professional negotiations?
Yes, they are essential for proposing different terms. For example, if we increase the order, will you offer a discount?
That sounds very natural for a business meeting.
Now, try using the second conditional for a hypothetical scenario. That is a perfect example of a hypothetical situation. What if you won a massive lottery prize?
If I won the lottery, I would travel the world.
Great. Now try a scenario about your current job.
If I had more time, I would learn coding.
Excellent. Let's switch to a more formal business context.
How would I propose a new project idea?
You could say, if we implemented this, would it help?
That is a very polite way to suggest changes.